The wedding that never was. I work for a florist that handles a lot of weddings. One day, a couple came in and planned their wedding with the usual staff. Surprisingly, the bride and groom agreed on every detail. A day later, the bride came in and changed almost the entire order and demanded we not tell the groom. Later that same day, the bride's mother called and changed the flowers and colors. She also demanded that we not tell the bride or the groom. Of course, everyone found out about the changes when they came in for the final meeting. A giant verbal fight broke out and we had to threaten to call the police. We got a call from the bride that the wedding was postponed for another year. No apology for their behavior, of course. 8 months later, the groom came in with another bride-to-be. The couple wanted to drive themselves to the church in a convertible Porsche. Apparently it was a dream of theirs, and no one could change their minds. The bride's veil whipped around in the wind and got in the groom's face. He swerved and ran onto a curb. The airbags deployed, so instead of a wedding, they ended up in the emergency room with facial lacerations, and I think he had a broken nose. They had also declined extra insurance on the Porsche rental, so they had to cough up something like $2,000 for repairs. For unknown reasons, I'm pretty good at spelling, and had two of my not-so-bright and very stoned friends actually call me on the phone to ask me how to spell a word they were having trouble with. The word was of. When my oldest stepdaughter was 15, I picked her up after her sport practice. I asked if she felt good after such good exercise. She said yes, but then complained that she should have got a shower before I picked her up. I didn't understand. She said, "Well, now that my sweat dried on me, my workout won't make a difference." I drove in confused silence for a minute and then started giggling. Wait, do you think that your body reabsorbs fat through your sweat if you don't shower quickly enough? I finally managed to ask. She also started to laugh and admitted that's what she thought, and that now that she heard it out loud, it made no sense. Nee talked about biology the whole trip home. She's in her second year of nursing school now and acing her classes. One day, my sister was riding in my convertible. She wore a tank top since it was 102 degrees outside. We drove 2 counties over and back running errands. At the end of the day, she called me and couldn't understand how she got sunburned when the car was moving. I'm the same age as Prince William. When he got married, my friend's mom went into an absolute rage because my friend was supposed to marry him. Never mind that we're American, or that my friend's family has zero ties to the monarchy or the upper echelons of British society. Prince William was supposed to marry my friend, who's never left the country or held a passport, simply because her mom thought it was a good idea in the 80s. Don't ever do that again. If you blow your nose while on the toilet and while on your period, your organs will fall out of your butthole and vagina and you'll die. Said to me by my mother the first time I got my period. I had the flu at the same time, ripped TP off the roll and blew my nose. She wagged her finger in my face and told me the above statement. I'm 29 now, still waiting for my organs to fall out of my butthole or lady bits. I figure it's gotta be any day now, right? I'm a baker and delivered a cake to a particular wedding reception venue. I tracked down the wedding planner before leaving to ensure it was fine and to see if they needed instructions on how to cut it, etc. She was very upset and finally confided to me the bride's boyfriend had shown up to the wedding before the ceremony with the groom's boyfriend in tow. Apparently a near riot broke out, as you'd expect, but for some reason the couple went through with the whole thing anyway. I couldn't wait to hustle out of there. When I was 10, I had to explain to my 18-year-old half-brother that he had to have money in a bank account to back up what he wrote on checks. He thought a checkbook was a magical book of free money everyone got when they turned 18. Reminds me of a story my dad once told me. Some of his friends were camping near a river, and one of them got in a truck tire and floated downstream. Then he got out, ran all the way around the camp, and got back in the water. When he passed the camp again, he said, "Look guys, it flows in a circle. A circle." One of them actually believed it, got in truck tire, and floated away. During the peak of the COVID pandemic, one of my parents set me aside to express how concerned they were about me at work because I might get brain damage from wearing a face mask. One of my siblings works at a dental office, and they've been wearing face masks at work for years. A co-worker's wedding. A kid who had to be all of 15 years old caught the garter. The crowd then cheered for him to put it on the leg of the woman who had caught the bouquet. The woman was probably 19 or 20, and I don't mind saying very beautiful. Still, the 15-year-old looked incredibly uncomfortable, but the crowd kept egging him on. When it was done, one of the men yelled something like, "Now you two need to get married." Big laughs, but I thought the 15-year-old was gonna die. I found out later that the 15-year-old and the woman were first cousins. During the small part of the mass that was in English, the priest kept asking the groom if he really wanted to marry bride. The first time he did it, it was awkward. After the third time, the groom literally growled at him through clenched teeth to get on with it. Needless to say, neither the bride nor anyone on her side of the church looked happy. A conversation which was the first time I realized I couldn't have intelligent conversations with my father-in-law. He spouted off out of nowhere. Him, "I don't understand how women let themselves get raped." Me, "You mean you physically don't understand how it happens or why it happens?" Him, 5'2", 225 IBs, 70 years old. I just can't imagine a situation where I wouldn't fight till the death to keep it from happening to me. There's no way I'd ever get raped. Me, 6'4", 375 IBs, 38 at the time. A, that fighting to the death part happens. People get killed in sexual assaults. B, do you really think, for example, if I wanted to rape you, that you could kill me or fight me to the point that you'd die before I got what I want? Because I'm positive there is an in-between there where we're both alive and you've lost the will to fight. And then suddenly I'm the asshole for threatening to rape my father-in-law. Pales in comparison, but a total white trash wedding. Sorry, I'm on a Union Coffee. By the time the bride and groom got from the church to the reception, 30 minutes, the entire wedding party was obliterated drunk. Each of the wedding party was introduced and were varying degrees of undress. Ties missing, jackets gone, dresses hiked up, barefoot, etc. I knew a guy. He's kind of a modern-day St. Patrick, except he didn't banish the snakes from his area. Instead, he gathered up all the coral snakes and repainted them from red on yellow to red on black. Venomous snake problem solved. I can't even describe how awful it was, but the bride walked down the aisle barefoot in the biggest, frilliest, most frou-frou dress I've ever seen, while her mother sang "The Rose" from the front of the church. Her mother couldn't carry a tune in a bucket. She sounded like a cat in heat or a car with a broken fan belt, or both. To this day, every time I hear some say "love," I break out in giggles. Kazakhstan's not a real place. It was made up for Borat. Everyone knows that dumbass. My cousin after L and several other family members, most of whom are from a country which borders Kazakhstan, showed him a globe to prove it's real. I was at my cottage looking at the stars at night with a friend, and she turned to me and asked, "Are there countries in the sky?" I didn't know what she meant, so I asked her to explain, and then she said, "Well, are there any countries in the world that are just kind of in the sky?" I was so confused that I just sat there in silence, but eventually she says, "I mean, is there land on the earth and the sky where people live that are countries?" At that point, I just gave up and said no, and she replied, "Oh, okay," so reassuringly.